make the movie or make the show with all their episodes intriguing. And it keeps, like I said, it keeps the viewership in check, and they want to see this show again and again and again. And I watched the first episode of this, and in the beginning of this, I wasn't feeling it too much because it starts off with these with this male and this female, and they're spying this military base, and they're sort of doing this cloak and dagger mission. They're spying onto this base, and when you go into the intro must be the most powerful thing, whether or not people are going to continue to watch this episode and continue to watch the seasons as they move along. And the first 5 or 10 minutes, I was turned off because I didn't understand, and maybe it's because of me, but it felt like to me the introduction to that first episode, it was lackadaisical. I'm going like, okay, what is this really about? Okay, and I almost fell asleep. Almost fell asleep. And then as the as the show starts to unwind and you start to uncover that there's more to this than meets the eye. This is more. This has got something more to do than these two individuals in the middle of nowhere spying on this military base. Helicopter comes down instantly. Another thing is eye-catching moments. And that's when I noticed coming out of the helicopter are these 9 body bags. And I'm going like, well, what's going on with these 9 body bags? Okay. And that eye-catching moment, and they planted it at the right time. They planted it in the introduction, between the introduction and when the story is being told. And that got me hooked. I wanted to know more about these 9 bodies. And that's when they started telling the tale of these 9 individuals that was on a small plane. And the plane went down and they crashed into this Mexican jungle. Okay. You start hearing the pilot, talking, but you couldn't understand him because he was talking in Mexican or Spanish or whatever, and you knew it was a serious dialogue. It was a serious conversation because he was talking to his wife as he was crash landing. He was sending a message to his wife as he was crash landing into the jungle. There's no Wi-Fi. There's no form of, as far as them communicating to the outside world where they are. So the outside world won't know that they're missing until they realize, like, look, this plane hasn't communicated with us in hours, and it's supposed to have been landed here. And that during all that time, these survivors are stuck in this jungle. Hold on one second. Yeah, they were stuck in this jungle. And the first person who died on the plane was the stewardess. Obviously she died from the crash. Okay. And the pilot was the surviving member as far as who worked on the plane. I mean, who was, working for the airline agents, for the plane. And then you got these 9 people. I mean, you got these, not 9 people, these 7 people, 7. If you're not counting the stewardess, that's 8, and the pilot, that's 9. So obviously the stewardess is going to die, okay, from the plane crash. And now you got the, pilot fighting for his life, okay? So let's get in. I was going to tell me the episodes, and I had it on my television set, but I cut my television set off because I felt like Um, it wasn't going to do it. Going to okay, yeah. So here is, and these are the trailers. I don't want to watch the trailer. I want to watch. I want to talk about the episodes. Okay. So, all right. So I'm gonna read this real fast, real quick. All right. Nine Bodies from Mexican Morgue, Season 1, Episode 2 review. Before we get into Episode 2, let's talk about Episode 1. All right. So, Episode 1 is like an introduction. It's like an introduction to um, the individuals. They're out in the middle of nowhere. These individuals don't know, they're not, the passengers, or let's just call them the passengers, they're they don't know one another. They come from different parts of the world. But as you start to get familiar with these passengers, you notice that all these passengers have different stories, and you can slowly but surely see bits and pieces of this story. Start off with the newlywed couple. All right, the newlywed couple. At first, on the outside looking in, you see this young couple. They're you can obviously tell they got married. They recently got married, and you can obviously tell they did it on the spur of the moment, and they're running away. You can obviously tell that they're running away from their parents. Maybe their parents are not agreeing with them getting married. But as you slowly realize about this newlywed couple, it's the girl is her father is a rich man, a very wealthy rich man. You don't know nothing about the her newfound husband, but you slowly start to realize that maybe he's marrying her for different reasons, meaning money. So he's not marrying her because he loves her. He's marrying her because of her wealth. Her daddy's money. You can clearly tell something was going on, and then you can also clearly. I don't want to get more into their story, because if I don't want to spoil. I think that's a good storyline. So go check that out. The next passengers are this couple. They say they got a bunch of hotels. They have done a bunch of odd jobs. It's a country couple. Look like they come from they're in the deep south, maybe Mississippi, Alabama. They got that rugged Southern accent, and they've been together. Obviously, you can tell that the wife sometimes get on the husband's nerves. The husband hasn't been taking care of himself, so he has to make sure he has to take this medication to slow down his blood. I mean, slow down his heart. Well, because I guess he's in the risk of having a heart attack. You can also clearly tell that they their trip was probably a hunting trip. So because he brought his rifle, um, and that's those two passengers. All right. Then you see this black guy. He claims he does insurance. You know, but you can clearly tell there's a lot more to him than what he's telling everybody. All right. So, there's some, mystery, some mystique with this guy. And it seems like everyone gravitates to him. And I guess everyone automatically let him be the leader, or let him be the one who vocalized what they should do. All right. So you got that guy. Then you have a Mexican guy. And he's got this mystery bag that he's got under lock and key. I'm not going to go into details about what was in the bag. that's going to premiere on episode 2. I don't want to spoil anything, but he has a very intriguing storyline himself. And then you have this woman who says that she's a photographer, but she's got a lot of mystery in her too. You don't really know nothing about her backstory other than what she's telling everybody, that she is, she's a photographer. I think there's more to her than just being a photographer. Just like I think there's more to the black guy who said he's the insurance guy. He sells insurance. I think there's more to him than meets the eye. And then you have this doctor. Okay, so this doctor has been sued from this family because of his practices on their daughter. Now, even though he saved his daughter, the reason why her daughter was getting ill in the first place because he misdiagnosed her, and now the family sued him, and that's pretty much it with him. But I do feel like there's more to that. Now he did say that he was on this trip to buy medical supplies because it's cheaper, because he has to watch his funds because that lawsuit took a lot out of him. His wife don't want nothing to do with him. He hasn't seen his own daughter. So that's pretty much it. But I do feel like there's more to that than meets the eye. Okay. So you got these people, you got these passengers stuck on this jungle. None of them know anything about this jungle, and they're trying, to survive and wait for, help to come. Now, the story starts to increase some when the pilot got injured in the crash. Now, the doctor didn't want to work on the pilot because of the incident that he had with this other patient that I just mentioned. And he's just saying, like, look, I don't want to get involved because the last time I got involved, saved somebody, I got a huge lawsuit. Okay. Slowly but surely, everyone convinced him. And then I think his being human he got the best of him, and then now he wants to save the pilot's life. He ended up saving the pilot's life. Got his he had a lot of air in his lungs. He relieved a lot of the air in the lungs because if he didn't, all that pressure would explode from the inside, and then the pilot would have just, died. So he didn't want to see that happen. He saved the pilot. And then everyone fell asleep. Okay. Everyone fell asleep. They woke up the next morning, the pilot dies. Now everyone believes that the pilot dies because of the doctor trying to save him. Look, they didn't have the best equipment available. They crash landed in the jungle. It is what it is. So everyone just assumed that maybe the pilot died because of shock of the surgery. Well, the quote unquote surgery. Okay. So, everyone just assumed that the pilot died that way. But the country couple that I just talked about, she noticed some things about that pilot, the way how he looked and all when he passed. And she basically told her, hold on one second. She ended up telling her husband, like, yo, there's more to that death than that, because everyone just assumed it was the shock from the surgery, the emergency surgery the doctor had to give to the pilot. But she noticed that he was probably strangled in his sleep, and she explained why she came to that conclusion. And she was basically telling her husband, we need somebody on this plane killed that pilot. Now, for what reason, no one knows. She's not sure. Maybe because they didn't have enough food or water and things of that nature. So that was between them two. Okay. She was about to talk more about it, but she heard someone in the jungle, a twig snapped, and she believes somebody was listening to their conversation in the jungle. Okay. So after they took care of the pilot, they got a spot where you can drop anyone. I mean, they dropped the pilot's body next to the stewardess body, and they covered it up. So after that, everyone, you start hearing these character building stories about the other characters. So you think, and they went out to see, can they find water, because they're running low with water. Okay, so they found a pond, and the newlywed guy was about to dive into the water, but the Mexican guy told him not to, because there's probably barracuda in the water. And sure enough, there was barracuda in the water. So they had to MacGyver a contraption to get the water, because if they just put their hands in the water, the barracuda is going to eat their hands alive. Okay, so they figured out a way to get the water out of there. They boiled water. In the meantime, while they're working on getting water and bringing it back to the crash site, that's when the country couple took their one rifle, and they shot some monkey. They killed 2 monkeys. So not only they had some water, they had monkey, and they're all eating monkey. Now the newlywed girl didn't want to eat it, and here's where we can. I think this is okay. So the murder victims start talking. Okay. So this is the first time the audience has an opportunity to get up close and personal with these people. The ragtag band of strangers drop into the Mexican jungle with no apparent common ground. 9 bodies may be drag its heels dramatically in the lackluster opening. And we just talked about the opening and what I felt about the opening. Okay, so this person feels the same way. But Eric McCormick and Dave Ajul make up for it now. Both Kevin and Zach carry their own emotional baggage into season 1, episode 2, Black Angel. This measure, which is served as an explosive dump for the writers, finally giving the audience something to invest in. In the camp, suspicions are a riff and quite concluded and formatted. Allegedly, are the beginnings as they take shape. The husband and wife, the alpha male, the alchemist, and the loner are now all finding themselves in neutral spaces. And now 9 bodies in the Mexican morgue is a better fit. This is what pumps the lifeblood into the show, adding real scene tense as the people begin to take sides. Conversations between the couples, backstories that are packed with nervousness and revelations, intrude the edge